hosts, Bonta Hill and Joe the Butcher Boy Shasky.
And oh, baby, and what should be a Sunday we never forget here in the Bay Area. A lot of things are going down. The Niners take on the Seahawks. And a gotta-have-it NFC West showdown, the first showdown in the NFC West between these teams, of course. Niners coming in at 2-1 off a tough loss to the Green Bay Packers last Sunday, 30-28. Game-winning field goal by Mason Crosby from 51 yards. And the Seattle Seahawks, who come in losers of 2 in a row. And what could be Russell Wilson's last visit as a Seahawk to Levi Stadium. Butcher, Joe Shasky, Bonta Hill. We are the kickoff show live from the Hilton Hotel in Santa Clara. And this feels like a big one.
I mean, these are the days you live for as a sports fan. And this is going to go down as one of the great Bay Area sports days, win, lose, or draw for both teams. And focusing just on the 49ers right now, I saw a graphic last night. The most wins ever against the 49ers in the history, with playoffs included.
Yep.
Johnny Unitas 17, Russell Wilson 15.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, this guy has beaten the 49ers as many times as everyone except Johnny Unitas. I cannot believe that I'm saying that. And when Pete Carroll rolls to town, it means something. When the Seahawks and their 12 show up and they take over the Hilton like they have today,
right?
It matters. It matters to me. I feel like today's an inflection point, a crossroads, if you will, for not just the 49ers, but for the Seahawks as well. And something's got to give, B.
Something does have to give here. Russell Wilson, in his last 3 games against the Niners, 8 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions.
Wow.
Hasn't thrown a pick in his last 3 against the 49ers, and he has some great numbers, 32 touchdowns overall and only 9 interceptions against the San Francisco 49ers as a quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. But they come in wounded. They come in limping. As an offense in the second half, they have not scored yet in the third quarter, but they get off the hot starts, which they did last week against Minnesota. They just have a defensive issue, and that's where Jimmy Garoppolo, this offense, where George Kittle will play. You look at the inactives here. Elijah Mitchell's going to be out again, so you may see a lot of Trey Sermon. Josh Norman, K'Wan Williams are out for the Niners. Aaron Banks also inactive. This is going to be a big offensive day for the 49ers, and it should be against this wounded Seattle defense that is giving up 440 yards per game. That is the worst right now in the NFL.
You know, every single week, B, we do these breakdowns of who's going to do what and who do we need to pop.
Right.
Why do I feel like today's the day I need all the non-stars to step their game up? The Brunskills, the McGlincheys, Alex Mack, I need to have a better game, and Laken Tomlinson, specifically that offensive line. But then all those other people on defense. You know, the Emmanuel Mosleys, the Deominar Lenores. I need these guys to step up. Jaquaski Tart.
Al-Shaair.
Absolutely. You know, I know what I'm going to get from Bosa and Fred Warner in terms of effort level. It's the other guys, because we know every single time the Niners play the Seahawks and they're having an opportunity to win, because they either get blown out or it's a tight game. It's one or the other. It's never the Niners are doing the blowing out here. But it always seems to come down to 1 or 2 plays, and I need one of these random guys to step up. No Mitchell today. That hurts the offensive pop, but can one of these other guys step up in that backfield?
Well, you know, the complementary pieces are key. They are key for this football team, you know, as you mentioned here. But I look to the stars in a game like this. I look to the stars in a big divisional showdown. Which one of my stars is going to step up? Fred Warner Jr., Nick Bosa. This week, I don't want to hear about the chips, all right? I don't want to hear about getting chipped. I understand that's a problem. That's an issue, but that should be corrected. Teams are going to double and triple team Nick Bosa this season. Get used to it, buddy. You're a premier pass rusher. Don't want to hear about that. Javon Kinlaw, I need you to step up. Eric Armstead, you're a captain on this football team. You get paid a lot of money. And then I look at the offense here. It's Jimmy, it's Ayuk, it's Debo, it's George Kittle. I need these guys to ball out like superstars today. You're paid like stars. You were drafted like stars. You were drafted like important pieces. Yes, the complementary pieces do need to step up and play well, but ultimately, you saw last week in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. They got what they needed from everybody else. When it was time to win the football game, they said, we're going to win the football game. We're the stars here. You think about the Niners against Detroit. What happened? Well, Mostert gets hurt after 2 carries. Jimmy had a big game. Debo had a big game. Same thing in Philadelphia. When you look at the big play, it was Debo to Jimmy right before halftime to get him on track here. So I'm with you. Complementary pieces got to play well, but the stars got to be stars today.
There's no doubt about that, B. I just look at Russell Wilson in general, who we kind of opened up with. you got to make him play in structure.
Yeah.
To me, he's totally different from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers will dice you up from the pocket in structure and try to get rid of the ball quickly. To me, Russ is the exact opposite. The longer he hangs onto the ball, the more the play breaks down, the more broken plays, the more outside the pocket plays that he can set up, the more deadly this guy becomes. Because then I got to guard DK, and I don't know if Lockett's going to be playing. It sounds like he's a game-time decision.
He's playing.
So for sure he's in.
Locked in.
All right, well, that makes the job so much more difficult to guard these dudes when it's a 6, 7, 8 second play as opposed to a 1 or 2 second play. Keeping Russ in the pocket with structured plays. That is the hallmark for slowing down this offense, in my opinion.
It's huge because this guy is like, he is Franz Harkinen. He is Roger Staubach. He is Doug Flutie. He is all those guys who can play from the pocket.
Yeah.
But when you keep him in the pocket and get pressure on him, yes, you maintain Russell Wilson. You're not going to shut a guy like this down.
No.
He's going to make plays. But when he gets cooking off script, like you mentioned, Shasky, and he gets outside the pocket, not only does he get outside the pocket, he has time to throw, but now you get DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett going deep down the field where cornerback is an issue for this football team. You get one of these stud wide receivers getting open and getting space down the field. They can really kill you with a quick play. So you want to keep them in. And it's a tough task. This is a tough task in mobile quarterbacks. Quarterbacks who could run, who could buy time, have it in Achilles' heel for the 49ers in recent memory.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And look, you face this defense every single day in practice. The offense needs to play complementary football today. You cannot allow this defense to be on the field for the majority of the first half again. And that's 2 consecutive weeks where you have really put your team behind the 8 ball. Give them some points early and let them know that you're here to fight. That, to me, would be a shot in the arm for the defense. Forget what they have to do schematically to slow down Russell Wilson. Just throwing some points up with this offense in the first half after how stagnant and constipated it's looked at times. Boy, that'd be a shot in the arm, I think, for the entire stadium.
No, it will be. And look, all eyes will be on number 10, Jimmy Garoppolo, early on. We'll also look at the defense to try to slow this offense down. Look, Chris Carson can run the football really well. Teams are running the ball.
He's a
He's a physical running back. Aaron Jones last week for Green Bay, a physical running back, had his way with the Niners. I thought he had a very nice day. Yes, sure, he didn't rush for over 100 yards, but I thought he moved the chains, and he gave Green Bay second and manageable, second and 3,
Are you effectively balanced?
Exactly. That's what Seattle wants to do. They want to keep this defense off the field themselves.
Absolutely.
These are 2 defenses right now that are leaking oil early in the season until you get some guys right. You look at Seattle, they're giving up points left and right. They can't stop the run. That's where Trey Sermon today. Trey Sermon, it's time to grow up. You know, it's time to grow up. I get it. It's your first month in the league. You're a rookie. You're a 3rd-round pick. It is time to run the ball with authority. Had a couple runs in the second half, but he's got to be better in the running game because everything's predicated off of Shanahan's run game.
I think we've been hyper-focused on Russell Wilson, rightfully so. The guy I worry about in a game like this is Bobby Wagner. Every time I think he's finished, this guy shows me that he's got another layer to his game, and he's still one of the top players in the league. Forget linebacker, players. This guy makes plays. And I think the chess match between Shanahan, Juszczyk, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Kittle against Bobby Wagner is going to be vital. If they allow this guy to bust through and make plays in the backfield against the quarterback or the running back, I think it's a long day for the 49ers.
It could be a long day.
If they can get this guy backpedaling and moving in space, and George Kittle can maybe get him a step behind him, that would be something that I would really, really, really like to see. Because, B, I'm telling you, man, he is the tone setter for this team.
Good afternoon to everybody on Twitch, brought to you by Xfinity, on YouTube. Watching us at 95.7 The Game. Subscribe to the page at 95.7 The Game on YouTube. Also the text line. I see your text here. 888-957-9570 if you want to call us and give us some last-second thoughts on today's action here at Levi Stadium. The Seahawks, they're 1-2. They're trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak. The Niners trying to get back on track before a big showdown next week in the desert against the Arizona Cardinals. What do the 49ers have to do to win this football game? One, you can't have turnovers against Seattle. You cannot give Russell Wilson extra opportunities. Heck, you can't give one of these premier quarterbacks extra opportunities on offense. But also, Jimmy just has to play better. And look, everybody's probably fatigued about the Jimmy talk, about the Shanahan talk. But Jimmy Garoppolo is the key to this football game. How does he play? How does he bounce back? He says he feels like the criticism of his has been unfair about stretching the football field, about This has to happen today against Seattle because Pete Carroll, Ken Norton Jr. are going to say, you know what? We're going to do what Green Bay did, and if he beats us over the top, we'll live to see another day. This game, Jimmy Garoppolo has to stave off Trey Lance. He has to stave off the haters. He's got to ball out against Seattle.
So don't you think that Kyle Shanahan needs to get him in rhythm early and often and not wait till 3rd and long to have him throw his first pass?
Absolutely.
To me, this is one of those template days where the run is going to be not abandoned, but set up via the pass. It's the other way around today, and that's what I think the Shanahans need to figure out today. I'm talking to Mike and Kyle because I think that Mike has some influence on what's going down today. Throw the ball, short, controlled passes. Make these DBs for Seattle, who are all banged up, make them tackle in space. Get the chains moving. A 3-yard smokescreen to Debo gets Debo going, gets Jimmy Garoppolo going, kind of backs off some of these linebackers from the line and makes them honor the pass. And then it gets Jimmy in a rhythm and it gets the offense humming as opposed to trying to drop step 4, 5, 6, 7 steps and throw the ball down the field. I'd like to see Kyle dial up some easy controlled passes early for Jimmy just to get him feeling good.
Also, and I'm with you there, and also there's some matchups to take advantage of. Look, I don't know what Seattle's going to do in the secondary today. Pete Carroll, the head coach of the Seahawks, has hinted at making changes.
Question,
Trey Flowers last week was the starting right corner. He gave up 7 completions on 7 targets. He got roasted. All right, DJ Reed gave up 2 touchdowns last week against Minnesota. Their secondary's in shambles. We may see Sidney Jones, the former first-round pick out of Washington. He may play a little bit. John Reed may play a little bit, but still, they're favorable matchups for Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. And then I look at Jamal Adams, who the Seahawks traded heaven and earth for to bring him over from New York City. He cannot guard in space.
No.
If number 85 is isolated on Jamal Adams, this should be a win for the 49ers. Take advantage of the matchups that presents himself for the 49ers at Kyle Shanahan. And that's on Shanahan to find those matchups and tell Jimmy, hey, we got a weakness here on the outside. Go attack this guy.
Well, and you know that he's going to want to blitz. I mean, that's what this guy wants to do. He wants to stay at the line, and he wants to play going forward. So I think it's imperative, and I brought up the offensive line early on. They got to communicate today. Today's the kind of day I can't have the miscommunications on the edge. McGlinchey, Trent Williams, Laken Tomlinson, and Brunskill. You have got to communicate properly today. And I'm looking at someone like Kyle Juszczyk, who I thought he had the finest moment in a 49er uniform for himself last week. I need him to follow that back up. And I think in passing situations, I'm willing to take his pass catching inabilities. He's not as dynamic as some of these other running backs, but he does more in terms of blocking and the catching and the sure hands. I think Juszczyk is an important player on the edge today, especially when we're talking about chess matching up with someone like Jamal Adams.
No doubt. I'm with you there. Juszczyk, use your parts, use your pieces. The Niners offense had the matchups in favor for themselves. Now, you talk about complementary football and players being complementary. I want to get back to that for a second because the offense has to help out this defense, especially early on. This defense right now, without the corners and Jason Verrett, who's out for the season. Josh Norman's out today. You got a rookie in Deandre Lenore where, just like Aaron Rodgers did, Russell Wilson's going to look to see where's number 38. And if DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett is right in front of Deandre Lenore, well, guess what? Lenore's going to get picked on. So how do you help this guy out? How do you help your defense out? You mentioned it, time of possession. Keep Russell Wilson off the football field. When the Niners are humming, playing at their best, you see them in the time of possession there in the 35 minutes, the 36 minutes, the 37 minutes. Well, how do you do that? You got to run the football. That's where Trey Sermon comes into play, communication on the offensive line. Help your defense out by playing better offense against Seattle. Guys, that's the best way because Deandre Lenore, it's tough to ask a rookie to say, hey, line up and go check DK by yourself.
There's no question about it. You know, one area of the team that I did not think was a strength heading into this game is the special teams.
Wisnowski's been good.
But it's not just that. You got a great return from Cannon last week, or Cannon, excuse me, last week. I'd like to see them try to incorporate him into that regular offense. Just somebody who could flip the field. They need a shot in the arm early in this game, and this is where I'm looking at Shanahan. You got to be in your bag today, bud. Like, you need to bust the emergency glass right now and bust out whatever plays that you have that can get you 15, 20 yards, because I think an early play in this game, you know, getting a good first down, getting a big chunk play, it just would be monumental for this offense. Going 3 and out, God, I feel like we would sleepwalk through the entire first half. That first drive is going to show me everything.
Well, not only that, you need the juice from this crowd.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Seahawk fans out here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As we're sitting here doing
That's
the
a
show
really good point.
at the Hilton Hotel, I see nothing but Seahawk fans had all the tables out here at the Hilton Hotel in Santa Clara. They will be chirping. The 12s will be flying their flag. If you go 3 and out early on and you get out to another start, now it's a hot day. It's 90 degrees. Fans are already going to be miserable because of the heat. You get off to a slow start offensively, now the crowd start falling asleep. Now they start checking scores of other games. Now all of a sudden they're seeing what are the Giants doing at Oracle Park against the Padres. They're going to be doing all those things if you start off slow, and now the crowd's going to be out of the game. And Russell Wilson, guess what? He's going to go to the line of scrimmage and say, oh, I got audible to this, I got audible to that. I got all the time in the world because they're quiet because of the offense's inability. There's nothing better. Think about the Cleveland Monday night game in 2019. You get a long run from Matt Breida early and often. That crowd was rocking. Green Bay Packers NFC Championship, crowd's rocking. Minnesota divisional round. You go down the field and score in that first possession, crowd's rocking.
Yeah.
You got to get this crowd in the game, man, because they've been in the doldrums this week. Don't lie.
No.
We've been on the morning roast, the buzz. A lot of shook Niner fans out there right now.
I worry that they're going to come out and sleepwalk through the first half the way they did
That's not good.
with the Seattle loss on Monday night a couple years back. Remember?
Oh, man.
They went to overtime, went all the way down to the end of overtime. You get to the following week, it's another divisional opponent. You sleepwalk through the first half, but you play lights out in the second half, and you end up winning that game. They can ill afford to do that this week. I mean, there's just no other way around it. And I look at what Seattle has and the 49er have this week. This is a monumental game for both teams. Obviously, Seattle wants to get back up to 500. Obviously, the 49ers want to keep Seattle down, but also you look just ahead, just a little ahead, and you're saying to myself, oh, we got the Cardinals next week, they get the Rams next week. So you got kind of a round-robin day today in the NFC West, and you got to hold serve because you're looking at it this way. Either the Rams or the Cardinals are going to lose today. One of those teams will take a loss. So if you're the 49ers, can you take advantage of that and build a little bit of momentum?
No doubt, especially with Arizona next week, where if Arizona loses, all of a sudden they're 3-2 next week, and you're 4-1 going into the bye week.
That's what I'm saying. Things switch.
Let me ask you this: what's been the biggest disappointment so far this season? I'm looking at the defense here.
I was going to say it's the running game.
It's the running game.
It's the running game.
Okay.
You know, to see Raheem Mostert go out so quickly. We know how important it is with Shanahan to establish the run. We know how vital that is for Jimmy Garoppolo in the play action. But Bonta, more than anything, I get fatigued hearing about how great Shanahan is at finding anybody to run the rock. It is hard to be a running back who's effective in the NFL. And I think that we just kind of roll our eyes at, oh, it's going to be Mostert this week, and then Elijah Mitchell the following week, and then, hey, Trey Sermon's going to play, and Trey's going to go for 100 yards. It's a lot more difficult to actually execute that. And I think them not having the running back healthy bodies right now is really killing them.
It is
I mean, they got no juice. And one thing that I saw with Elijah Mitchell that you get from Raheem Mostert, pop plays. Sermon gave you no pop plays, and I don't think it's a fault of his own. I think the offensive line got manhandled, but he also doesn't have that speed to get around the edge.
I'm going to go with the defense here. And the defense in terms of takeaways and sacks. Now, you think about the sacks here. Bosa has 3. The rest of the team has 3. Armstead with 1, D4 with 1, and Kentavious Street with 1 sack. They've got to get more pressure on the quarterback. We hyped this defensive line up all off-season, all training camp. Hey, this is the deepest roster spot or positional group on the football team. They go 9 to 10 deep. You got DJ Jones, you have Kinlaw, you got Street, you got Kerr, you got Bosa, Ford, Ebelkamp. Where's he at? They've been disappointing in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback. And I know some of these quarterbacks have gotten the ball out quick, but 6 sacks so far. And then you look at the takeaways.
Well, takeaways has been a problem for this
1
team.
interception.
I mean, but this is not a ball-hawking secondary. I think that's the one area where if you're going to play modern NFL football, you're going to give up big plays. Can you create turnovers? And as good as Tart and Ward can be in space sometimes, they're not ball hawks.
No.
And I think that's the area this team desperately misses is those ball-hawking, corners and safeties. You brought up something about the pass rush. I think the biggest missing ingredient has been stuffing the run on first and second down, which has basically put them in short down and distances on third down, and you're not able to pin your ears back and go after the quarterback. You're allowing quarterbacks to have quick little slant drops and things like that. When it's third and long, by function, you are telling the offense you have to drop back farther to complete a pass farther downfield. So to me, first and second down is vital today for the 49ers. Keep Russ off schedule.
And you know what? That's been an issue all season long. Detroit in the first half. 17 carries, 88 yards. They averaged 5.2 yards per carry in that first half.
Yeah.
And they ran the ball. The reason why they went away from the run, well, they were down 31-10 after the pick six by Jory Greenlaw at halftime, so they had to go away from the running game. Philadelphia, when they were running the up-tempo, they got the running game cooking there early in the first half.
They did.
Green Bay stayed on schedule here. And you know what Seattle's thinking? You know what? Chris Carson, you're humming right now. Let's just run the ball against this defense and get ourselves in 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, where all of a sudden you can run the RPO, you can run and play action pass, quick slants. It's a problem right now for this defense. And DeMeco Ryans is a first-year defensive coordinator. He's got his work cut out for him. He's got to figure it out quickly, especially without your corners, your top cornerbacks here on the team.
Well, I think the big problem for me is that when you see this matchup, the biggest mismatch right now is wide receiver versus cornerback.
It's a monumental mismatch.
When you see DK Metcalf do what he did last year, 2019, I thought that Emmanuel Mosley played great against him. He really did. But last year, he was a problem. And Tyler Lockett, the longer the play goes on, that guy's going to make plays downfield. He's a great athlete. He makes unbelievable acrobatic catches. Got a lot of Lynn Swan to his game.
This is where K'Wan Williams, the absence of him, who could be the best nickel corner in all of football, when healthy.
Yeah, they're going to miss him.
When healthy, they're going to miss him. And one thing I've noticed, too, with the secondary, especially Jimmy Ward, he is not tackled great in space. Devontae Adams put a move on him. Boom, boom, took his ankles. We saw him against Detroit, though, Deandre Swift. Whiff on that screenplay where Deandre Swift took it to the house. They've got to tackle better in space, and these are the type of wide receivers that make moves. They embarrass you in open space. You got to tackle a lot better. If you're not going to cover and be able to cover at a high level, you at least got to tackle from you. Because these guys, like DK, we call him Baby T.O. for a reason. He will take a quick slant to the house and break a tackle quickly because he's so physical and he's so big. So they got to tackle better in space, especially if we're not going to be able to cover at a high level.
And they've never really had they've never really contained Russ in terms of keeping him from getting outside the pocket. I mean, even that game, Week 17, when they won up in Seattle, Russ was starting to heat up late in that game. Niners should have pulled away, and he started to heat up as the game kept going on. So that's why, for me, it's imperative to get out to a good lead. You know, the longer Russ is out there on that field, the more he's going to heat up. The guy is a microwave. Boom, 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 he's good to go. All it takes is one throw. It's the same when I see someone like Aaron Rodgers last week. Bonta, this is a gauntlet. This is a quarterback gauntlet that the Niners have seen themselves go up against. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm worried about this one. I'm very worried about this one. I mean, this is a make or break kind of a game for the team.
This does.
I mean, this is like a big one.
This feels like a swing game, and it feels like a big game for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
It feels like if Jimmy Garoppolo does not play well today, it's only going to bring – the Jackals are only going to scream for Trey Lance even louder.
Yeah.
We're going to scream from number 5 because what a loss does is it tells the fans that, hey – we're not really contenders this season. Okay, what does the future look like? Well, you got a quarterback you drafted number 3 overall, so let's go play the future right now with Trey Lance. So I think it's a huge game, a huge, huge game for Jimmy Garoppolo, just to stave off of Trey Lance for at least a month. You imagine if Jimmy Garoppolo goes out there and plays well, and he carves up the Seahawks, then nobody's talking about Trey Lance.
Well, I still want to see Trey Lance get in there to open up some running holes. I want to see Trey Sermon in the gun run. That's where this guy is best utilized. If you don't have your normal I formation backs, throw this guy in the gun run. Put Trey Lance out there. No one's saying that Trey needs to play 30 snaps. I'm saying give him 4 or 5. Give him 4 or 5 to just see a pop play. And if you have to pull it out and throw it, then so be it. They need anything to get this offense going. And Bonta, right now, I'm not going to dismiss any idea that can maybe open up this O.
All right, 888-957-9570. Chill, Shasky the Butcher, Bonta Hill. We're live here at the Hilton Hotel in Santa Clara. Getting you ready for Seahawks and Niners on a monster Sunday here in the Bay Area. A lot of things cooking here. A lot of things could be happening by the time we get on the air Monday morning. Seahawks, Niners. The Hawks at 1-2. Niners at 2-1. We'll be right back to wrap this bad boy up here on 95.7 The Game.
1 out of every 6 kids in America has a mental illness. I'm one of them. Hi, I'm Bella. I had my first panic attack in 2nd grade. By the time I was a teenager, I had thoughts of suicide.
put your arm over you when you drive too fast? That's Michelle. She's the worst. I want her to just pop a Xanax and go to sleep. Yeah, why not? Bonta, it is one of those days. It's a great day here in the Bay Area. We've got nothing but anxiety-riddled sports going on. Russell Wilson, the winningest quarterback in the modern era against the 49ers. Wow, something's got to give. Seahawks have never lost 3 in a row. Niners very rarely lose 2 in a row at home. This is a big one.
I'm looking at the news. I'm sorry. There's a lot of this is a big one, but there's so much going on in the Bay Area. Andrew Wiggins now gets the shot. He's got his shot now, so he will be vaccinated. He will be playing. It will not be a story any longer. And I just saw a tweet from our boy Jeff Thurm up in South Dakota.
Oh,
he's Trey Lance's boy. Always coming through in the clutch. 2-shot wigs. Instead of 2-way wigs, called them 2-shot wigs. And I was just like, wow. You got the Giants, you got the Niners playing the Seahawks, and you got Wiggins getting vaccinated. So it's no longer big day. Or hey, look, if that's a sign of things to come, it's going to be a good day in the Bay Area. It's going to be a great day in the Bay Area.
Look, these matchups, these Seahawks, Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, 49er matchups, they've been legendary. I mean, I know once Harbaugh left, we had about a 3-year period where the Niners weren't competitive at all. Outside of that 3-year period, every single one of these games has come down to the end. And I feel like this one is going to be no different.
I got some news for you from Levi Stadium.
Yes.
Drake Kirkpatrick is warming up with the first-team defense.
All right.
So we're going to see Drake Kirkpatrick maybe in the starting lineup for the 49ers.
Anybody but Dante Johnson, Bonta.
Yeah, anybody but Dante Johnson. However, Drake Kirkpatrick last year against Seattle gave up 17 completions on 20 targets against Seattle. So is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
Look,
he's a veteran, right?
He's better than what they've got, and at this point, they just need healthy bodies who can stay in front of somebody. They got to just stop. They got to contain Russell Wilson today. I mean, this is one of those games where you drafted Nick Bosa, number 2 overall. You got all the hopes in the world for him. These are the kind of games where you need to be a game wrecker. You need to make them throw the playbook out the window because you are wrecking havoc at every single level. The other guy that we haven't really talked about, who I absolutely need to see closing out today, specifically on that edge, D Ford has got to show something today. I have to see something from D Ford.
Haven't heard from D Ford since the Detroit game. And remember, Detroit had their offensive line was a mess. They were in shambles. They had an injury right before that game started. That week, it wasn't Runyon. Was it Tyler Decker or something? I forget the right tackle's name. It's slipping me right now. But D Ford's been MIA for the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
He's been MIA. Again, the most disappointing aspect of this football team so far for me, it's not the running game because you got Mostert out and Jeff Wilson Jr. So I understand that rookies are going to struggle. And Elijah Mitchell did look good against the Detroit Lions. There was something there. He hung in there against Philadelphia in a hard-hitting football game. But this defensive line, not stopping the run and not getting out the quarterback, they've got to set the tone. They've got to control the line of scrimmage, and they got to make it easier for this beleaguered secondary right now. I'm looking at the defensive line. Bosa, Ford, Armstead, you got to dominate and stay in Russ's face all day.
You know, one guy who actually historically has played really well against Seattle is Eric Armstead. Physically, he has really dominated their offensive line. He's a guy today, boy, wouldn't it be nice if he had a couple of sacks early in this game?
I want to see him rub his belly.
Some stuff up in the middle.
I want to see him rub his belly like 2 or 3 times today off a sack. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, he's got – and you're right about that. He has played well.
He really has.
Seattle Seahawks. He has.
I want to throw my flowers at that guy, but stuffing the run on 1st and 2nd down is going to be important. We know the let Russ cook thing didn't necessarily pan out at the end of the year for Seattle the way that they had hoped. So I think they're going to try to establish the run to set things up for later on in this game. And you just want to keep the ball out of Russ's hands, and you want to keep him inside the pocket. So that's why I'm looking at these edge pressure guys. Bosa, Ibukam when he's in there, D Ford, they got to bring it today.
They do have to bring it. They have to bring it. Seattle, again, they're 26th against the pass. 26th against the pass. They've given up the most first downs in the NFL. They're giving up 440 yards per game. This defense stinks. This defense stinks. You've got to figure out a way to cook this defense. And this is, Jimmy Garoppolo, yeah, he struggled at times last week. This offense struggled at times.
I don't want to hear it today.
This is a get-right defense.
Yeah.
Although it's a divisional round, it's a divisional opponent, and you could throw out the records against divisional opponents, in my opinion. Division games are tough. But still, this is a get-right defense with Ken Norton Jr. calling that defense. Ken Norton Jr. stinks as a defensive coordinator.
And this is a defense, or at least a version of this defense, you face every day for the last 4 years in practice.
It's a great point.
Shanahan has got to bring it today.
It's a great point.
It's not just on Jimmy. I'm not saying that Kyle's got to be the one to make the throws for him, but, open it up a little. Let's see, where's Trent Sherfield? You talked about him all throughout training camp. Can I see him on the field? Is Mohamed Sanu really going to get more snaps than Trent Sherfield? Is that what we're going to do again today? Okay. Well, then he needs to make some plays, Mohamed Sanu.
No doubt.
Brandon Ayuk needs to get more targets.
Yep.
Deebo Samuel needs to continue to build on what we've seen through the first 3 games, and you got to get George Kittle the ball.
You got to get George Kittle the ball. And they made it more he had 9 targets last week, but I need 12.
Yeah.
I need 13. I need him to be force-fed. Speaking of George Kittle, he discussed this game earlier this week. George Kittle on facing the Seattle Seahawks. Here's what Kittle had to say.
I think after this week of practice, I feel like our team's going to be ready to swing right back at them. I think it's going to be a heavyweight boxing fight. I don't know how many points are going to get scored, but I know that it's going to be gritty. The run game's going to be intense. There's going to be a lot of big plays, and it's going to be a fight from start to finish, and whoever backs down first will probably lose that game.
And George Kittle was, questionable with the calf injury. He's going to give it a go here. He has to stay healthy for this football team, and he has to play hard for this football team, and he has to make plays for this football team. And he's right. This will be a brawl. Whenever it's Seattle, whenever it's the 49ers, whenever it's an NFC West opponent, it is a heavyweight fight. It is a bloodbath. There will be carnage left on the football field. So after these next 2 weeks, this week against Seattle, and next week against Arizona, that bye week comes at a perfect time.
I'm worried about George Kittle. I really am. Every single year, it's something random that pops up. He's a great player. No one denies the talent. He's an unbelievable blocker. He's a fabulous pass catcher.
Yep.
He's great after the catch. The yards after the catch, very few tight ends run like he does. He's an absolute beast. But these injuries, man, I'm concerned. I'm legitimately concerned. And if he comes out of this game, boy, that's going to be big. That is going to be big. So that's why I want to see early on, does he have the juice? Does he have the wiggle?
Right.
Is he willing to lower the shoulder and give the boom hits that makes George Kittle George Kittle? We're going to know early in this game, I feel like.
No doubt. Oh, boy, we will. We will. Let's hear from George Kittle on this division as a whole, though, because there's 2 heavyweight fights going on. One up here at Levi's Stadium, and, of course, one down at SoFi Stadium between the Cardinals and the L.A. Rams. Here's what George Kittle had to say about the division. We'll get that in just a second here. George Kittle was discussing the NFC West earlier this week here. Let me know, guys, back at the studio when you have it. Here's George Kittle on the division, on the NFC West, possibly being the best division in all of football.
I think we're very aware of it. I know I'm aware of it. I've been saying it for like 3 years. I think this is the best division in football. You got guys up and down every single roster across the 4 teams that are all incredible football players, Pro Bowlers, all pros. Chandler Jones gets 5 sacks a game. That's crazy. They got the Cardinals are insane. Rams are clicking right now. They look hot. And Seattle, when they have Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, they're going to be a good football team regardless. I know they haven't played the level that they want to play at, but you're going to get their best swing every single time. And then I still think that we're a fantastic football team with weapons all over the place. And I just know that every time it's going to be a divisional game, it's going to be fireworks and a lot of punches. And I love that. It's going to be awesome because whoever gets out of it is going to be the best team.
The division's loaded. There's no question about it. You got a round-robin kind of a thing going on where 2 teams face each other today in both in division, and then, boom, we rotate it and we do it again next week. Bonta, fireworks, Jimmy Garoppolo, what's the probability of him setting this offense up for success and actually putting on a fireworks show today?
He's got to. I don't know the chances. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the game plan. Jimmy Garoppolo has to play he's got to play as well as he did in 2019. Whatever his best was in 2019, that performance needs to come out today. his ball placement has got to be better.
Yeah.
Last week against Green Bay, even on the completed passes, look, he's completing passes, but guys are falling on the turf.
He was
getting
out of
rocked in the
rhythm.
head. He was not in rhythm all game long. How did he get in rhythm? He was skittish in the pocket.
Yeah.
He's got to settle down early and make plays, and he can't be afraid to throw the football down the football field. Now, I'm not saying you need to throw deep every single snap. No, but when those opportunities present itself, you've got to do it.
Absolutely.
You've got to do it. The Deacon stuff. Look, if you want to look deep like he did last week where he threw the pick to Jair Alexander, well, guess what? Yeah, Ross Dwelly underneath wide open. Sometimes you can take the check down and get 15 yards and stay on schedule here.
Bonta.
Jimmy has to play well. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. I mean, let's be honest here. This could be the last time he starts a football game in Levi Stadium as a 49er. This could be.
I mean, look, that is in the cards. I don't think I'm ready to go there yet. Let's see what he ends up doing today. I agree with you. When you look down the road, you start playing the game of if, when, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I get that. For today, Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo, they need to get vertical.
Yes.
Stop going horizontal. Get vertical. Move the ball down the field. When it was the 2-minute drive, that's the sense of urgency you need to have in the first half. Where is this sense of urgency? Get vertical. Stop with the end arounds to George Kittle. Throw this guy the ball down the field. Throw Debo the ball down the field. Get Brandon Ayuk involved down the field. Bonta, the key word for me today for the offense, get vertical.
Right. Yeah. No east-west, north-south. Whether that's a running game, whether that's a passing game. You got to get down the field. You got to get chunk plays. You got to make some things happen here. As we're looking at the Giants score here, and Giants, of course, are playing the Padres, so we'll see what's happening with that. Levi Stadium rocking and rolling right now as we get ready for Seahawks and Niners. People are starting to walk into the stadium. Kickoff coming up here at 1:05. Let me ask you this before we, because the Garoppolo and Trey Lance and Shanahan thing, I think Shanahan has to coach a better game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Shanahan has to coach a better game.
Yeah,
he's got to have a better feel for the football game.
No dispute.
What about this rivalry, though? Because you believe it's dying down. I was talking to our guy up in Seattle, my boy Jimmy, and he goes, there's no Sunday night football game. It's not a Monday night football game. It's not even at a 1:25 kickoff. It's at 1:05. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman aren't even in the stadium. You don't even have those guys announcing this football game. The rivalry is dead up there in Seattle. Is it kind of, to me, it's bittersweet that this game didn't garner more buzz this week in not only the Bay Area, but up in Seattle as well.
Well, B, I think when I think of the Seattle matchup as a whole, I just think of the woulda, coulda, shoulda. It woulda, coulda, shoulda been Kaepernick and Harbaugh versus Russ and Pete Carroll for a decade. We got it for a brief little, 18 months, and that was it. And then you'd think it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan for, 5 years against Russ and Pete Carroll. And you really only got it a couple of times. And now that feels like it's going to be over. And then the 49ers draft his successor in Trey Lance, and we don't know when he's going to play. But doesn't it feel like Russ has got one foot out the door in Seattle?
It does.
So I just feel like they had so many opportunities to turn this into a great rivalry, and yet it never had the sustainability that you absolutely need for it to be one of those great rivalries.
No, I'm with you there. And look, once Russ moves on, what's left of the Seahawks? What is going to be left of the Seahawks?
That's a great point.
DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson. Nobody hates them quite yet. You look at the defense. Defensively, Bobby Wagner, we know he's a great middle linebacker.
He's a great player.
But the Legion of Boom is no longer there.
Yeah.
They were the guys who really set the tone. Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman.
Do you think No Sherman plays into this as well?
No Sherman is huge.
Yeah.
No Sherman is huge. Sherman being down in Tampa Bay, not being a part of this rivalry, it has lost its luster and opened the door for the Rams to become the number one rival. And don't even sleep on the Cardinals because they want something to say about it. So
good point.
It is a little sad to not feel the buzz of this once proud, great. Look, and it was quick. It happened in a heartbeat, right? This rivalry. Before a 4 to 5 year stretch, it was the rivalry. We thought it was reinvigorated in 2019 when Seattle came down here on Monday Night Football and won the overtime game, and the Niners go up to Week 17 and win in Seattle to secure home field advantage and win the NFC West title with a great tackle by Dre Greenlaw at the inch line. At the inch line, for crying out loud. If it's the last time we see Russ in the Seahawk uniform, look, I'm not going to miss him. He's tormented all of us. But at the same time, I'm kind of thankful the Niners had to go against guys like Brett Favre and Russell Wilson, where they just tormented it.
Yeah.
And it gave us somebody to hate on those respective teams.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, when I saw that graphic yesterday, and I'll bring it up again for those who are just, arriving to Levi's, just getting in their car, going in and out of soccer games. Most wins, playoff and regular season, all time against the 49ers. Johnny Unitas, the great Johnny Unitas, 17 wins all time. Russ, 15. That's including the playoffs, regular season combined. 15 wins for Russell Wilson. Today, if he wins, would be 16. He'd inch a little closer. We obviously have another game after this one against the Seahawks. It just goes to show you how long Russ has been there and how great he's been throughout that entire time, and really how they've dominated. I mean, Bonta, outside of a couple of wins for the 49ers, the Seahawks have dominated this rivalry. And that's the part that leaves me frustrated as a Niner fan, because I never thought that we gave them a sustained punch 2 years in a row. It's always a punch here, a punch there, but never a sustained 2-year punch. Whereas they've kicked us when we were down what felt like 4 or 5 years in a row.
Look, a Niners victory here in the Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll era. Now, I'm not saying it's dead, because it's only, let's face it, it's October 3rd.
Yeah, but it's about win accumulation.
But when you win, and you could send them to 1-3.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden the rumors start, oh, man, is this it for Russ? Well, how frustrated is Russell Wilson? And we heard from Softy where, for the first time, where Russell Wilson's is like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to pass the ball. Where the Tennessee game, Pete Carroll thought, oh, maybe we should have read the time a little bit and not maybe force the ball down the field, maybe take what the defense gives us. And Russell Wilson's like, I don't care what you say, bro. I don't give a damn about you. So
they seem to not be in sync. And
no, they're not in sync.
If Belichick and Brady has taught us anything, once the erosion of the relationship between quarterback and head coach starts to showcase itself to everyone in the country, it feels like the breakup is inevitable, doesn't it?
It is. It definitely is inevitable. But you can put a stake in their hearts. You put a knife in their hearts here, a steak knife in their hearts, I should say, in the Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll, the Seattle Seahawks.
There's a lot of drama this week that we haven't even touched on the pregame show. Seth Wickersham writes a book. Basically says that the New England Patriots, Tom Brady, when he was becoming a free agent, looked around the league, reached out to his friend Wes Welker, who's on the 49er coaching staff, said, I want to come to the 49ers. There's a lot going on outside the building for the San Francisco 49ers this week. There has been a lot of Trey Lance, Jimmy G, clock management, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, player evaluations. This guy wanted to come here. Niners wanted that guy to come here. They should have drafted this guy. The GOAT, Tom Brady, wants to come here. It just feels like, to me, a win today could shut all that noise up. A loss today, and I think all of this stuff that has been on the outside all of a sudden now is taking an effect on the field and into the locker room, whether real or not. Because once you start losing, you open yourself up to criticism. B, this game is more than just a singular game for me.
It's huge. I mean, again, we don't know what's going to happen at the quarterback spot. We don't know, like, the rumors that the fans now know about. Seth Wickersham has a lot of credibility in the game. And
he knows the Patriots dynasty better than anyone.
He knows it better than anyone. He knows Brady. He's getting his information from somewhere. There's some validity to this stuff where if Tom Brady's a free agent, why wouldn't you watch film on him?
I know.
Why wouldn't you be breaking down every single play? But it doesn't look good on surface. Like, are we starting to see guys now throw each other under the bus?
Well, that's
John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan. What's going on with Shanahan and the team? There's just a weird vibe.
Success is a family.
Yep.
Failure is an orphan, meaning we point the finger and we look for others to blame when things start to not go well. And so I think there's a lot going on here. You have Trey Lance sitting there in the wings. At some point, they're going to flip that card over to showcase that ace. And it might not even be an ace. It might be an 8. It might be a 4. It might be a 2. They're praying it's an ace.
Right.
But they desperately need that pick to be proper. But in the interim, they also need to get the best out of Jimmy Garoppolo for this year.
They do.
I think they're in a really tough spot today. I feel like everything's going against them. But a win would shut everything up. That's why this game feels like 2 games for me in one.
If you can win this game, not only win it against the Seattle Seahawks and send them to 1-3, all of a sudden you're 3-1 and you're saying to yourself, We were 37 seconds away from being 4-0.
Exactly.
And we slipped up.
Exactly.
It's okay, but we're still 3-1. And if you ask any fan after 4 games,
I agree.
You take the first 4 games of the season. Now, obviously, when you had 16, you will break them down into 4 quarters, right? Well, the first quarter here, obviously, we got 17, so you're going to play an extra quarter in the last 5 games here, playing 17-game schedule. But if the first 4, if you said, you know what, the 49ers are 3-1.
Oh, I would take it. I would take it. Given all the injuries, given everything that's been going on, Bonta, 3-1, that's a great start to the year. 2-2 in this division, it just, although it's not horrific, it's not a game changer, it is a complete uphill battle to try to get into the playoffs, because I go back to the win accumulation thing. Right. You got to stack wins. And I just look at the NFC West. Going 3-3 would be a great year for any one of these teams.
Anybody.
So to think that you're going to go 4-2 or even 5-1 within the NFC West, or dare I say 6-0, that just feels like a pipe dream. So I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, if you can win this one, you can take a deep breath before we get to Arizona.
No doubt about that. Niners, Seahawks coming up. The fireworks are going off at Levi Stadium as both teams run out of the tunnel. It is going down at Levi Stadium on a beautiful, gorgeous day down here in Santa Clara. We're live here at the Hilton Hotel.
I got some anxiety today.
Oh, I'm jacked up. Look, we know what's going on at Oracle Park with the Giants and Padres. Giants got to win that game to win the division. Go figure. Comes down to the last freaking day. I was out there Friday hoping the champagne gets popped. And then Trey Turner hits a grand slam in the bottom of the 5th inning. Boom. What do you know? It's a tie ball game. You got to wait 2 days later.
Yeah.
You got to wait 2 days later. This is not 49ers football game, because we discussed this on Friday. Where's the buzz? Where's the sense of urgency? If the Niners come out slow today, it's going to be a lot of impatient fans saying, oh, here we go again. And the drum's going to just be louder and louder for Trey Sermon. Now, you got to help again. Trey Lance, excuse me, not Trey, the wrong Trey. Well, Trey Sermon needs to play well, too. But Trey Lance, the drum's going to beat louder and louder for Trey Lance. But defensively, what has you worried, I think, is the same thing I'm worried about. Who's going to play quarter? Who's going to slow down DK and Tyler Lockett? Who's going to slow down Russell Wilson? Are you going to be able to get to the quarterback? Are you going to be able to shut down the run? Like, defensively now, which I thought was the strength of this football team, now I'm saying, offense, I need you to pick it up, man, and help this defense out and just keep them off the football field.
Well, there's no doubt about it. We absolutely need the offense to sustain some drives. I mean, I think that's what it's all about as I start to cheer right now. It's all about that, sustaining drives to keep this defense off the field and refreshed. Like, the worst thing that can happen right now is coming out, first possession, Russ marches right down the field with a 12-play drive, and this entire D-line in this heat is gassed. That would be the worst possible scenario. A 3-and-out, get the ball, run it right down their throat, get your defense back on the shady side of the field. That would be huge for this team.
Well, you know what? It's time to walk into Levi Stadium. It's time to wrap this bad boy up. We'll be here immediately after the football game. Niners, Seahawks, 888-957-9570. Joe Shasky, the Butcher. Bonta Hill will be here right after the conclusion of the football game. Or if it's a blowout, we may be on early, folks. Right here in 95.7 The Game. Joe Shasky, the Butcher, Bonta Hill. That's it for us. Enjoy the football game. We'll be back right after, right here on 95.7 The Game.
The San Francisco General Hospital Foundation gives heartfelt thanks for your support for Zuckerberg's San Francisco General Hospital and Trauma Center. Your support for ZSFG supports public health and access for all. Learn more at thankyouSF.org.
Hey, Damon Bruce here. I know that selling a home in